I'll tell you about Alvaro Okura. Okay, Alvaro Okura is the founder of Juan Pollo restaurant. If you haven't smelled the chicken back there or tasted it, you ought to do it. It's great stuff. Albert is, and not only is Juan Pollo, I think it's a great restaurant. I really love their food. Albert's really done a great job, I think, for promoting San Bernardino, the Inland Empire. His headquarters is at the site of the original McDonald's restaurant, corner of 14th and East Street. Inside where his office is a museum which commemorates the history of McDonald's restaurants as well as Route 66 in San Bernardino. He also, a number of years ago, out of boredom, he decided to buy a town. He went to Amboy, bought a town in Amboy for more money than, well, yeah, I think it was 400 grand, I guess. That's a pretty good price. Anyway, I love the desert. And any of you that like the desert, I mean, you have to like Amboy, all these little towns. And I remember coming out here in 1966, driving, well, I was 12 years old, but driving with my parents along Route 66 in Amboy. And Amboy was just a small little one-horse town, or two-horse town. Now it's down to about a half-a-horse town. But Rose Cafe that was the place, and Albert's the man to make some changes and do some great things. Albert recently wrote a book called The True Story of Juan Pollo, and it features his step-by-step method of cooking the perfect chicken. He is the chicken guru, and he wants to be the chicken king of the universe. I'd like to now introduce our guest speaker, Albert Okura.
Thank you. This is the second time I've been here, and remember the last time you were here. Now, I'm not the greatest speaker. I'm the chicken guy, but what I want to do is talk about what I'm doing, where I've been, how we got this far, and I think she asked me last time, is it going to be the same speech? I said, no, I want to give my plan. I have a plan. If you see that, I'll give you a brief outline. This is John Weeks' article he wrote, and so I don't want to spend too much time about what I've done. But basically, I grew up in the fast food business, and I started going to McDonald's in Los Angeles in 1961 when they first came out there. And at that time, that's when Ray Kroc bought the brothers out, and I didn't even know about San Bernardino. I grew up in the LA Harbor area, which is Wilmington. And the three favorite restaurants I went to was McDonald's and Taco Bell and DeWitt. And I had no clue why. It was just like, this before I even knew San Bernardino. And as you know, they all started, they had the roots in San Bernardino. And I think one of the reasons was I went to Taco Bell and DeWitt when it came out, is their food was 15 cents, just like McDonald's. McDonald's was 50-cent hamburgers. Mm-hmm. And when I was 10 years old when it came out in 1961, the cheapest hamburger in town was 29 cents. And as soon as McDonald's came, it was 15 cents. It was a half price. And if you read what I wrote when I was 10 and 11, my mom said, okay, you gotta go work. She got me a newspaper route. And so let's make $30 a month, which is $1 a day. And so $1 a day, you can't buy much. So I went to McDonald's, and then soon after that, Taco Bell came out, and then also I used to go to Wednesdays on the way to school, and then after I come to San Bernardino and learned all the history, that was the very first Wednesdays ever, and I used to go in every day. I didn't know that. It's in Wilmington. And then across the street, if you know the history of Taco Bell, if you read his book, he started El Taco. That was upgraded Taco Bell with celebrities, the LA Rams. And that was right across the street. I used to go there all the time. That was his El Taco. And say that you read Bell's book, he talks about they had these trampolines. He got the trampolines. And I remember that. I was right down the street. I used to walk by that every day. And see this, and I didn't even know the tie-in with San Bernardino. So anyway, by 1970, I was going to junior college, and while I was going there to stay out of the draft, the Vietnam War. And well, everyone was doing that at the time, but and then come Richard Nixon canceled the draft, and in the meantime, right before that, I needed part-time work, so I looked at the job placement at the job placement center, and there was a job at Burger King, and I never heard of Burger King, because they were Burger King, I found out started on the East Coast, and in the early years, they were neck and neck with McDonald's because the founders of Burger King, they sold out to Pillsbury right away, and so Pillsbury had deep pockets. When I worked there as Pillsbury, the only problem with Burger King and Pillsbury, they have no identity for like what McDonald's did. Where they have this recognition and they have promotional things, and so I got my first job passed through the Burger King, and then I stayed there until it's in the book, but what I did was that later, after down the line, when I was getting ready to do something on my own, I went to work at Del Taco. And because I remember my district manager at Burger King, he always said he had good opinion about Del Taco. And same thing, I never heard of Del Taco because really Del Taco started out in this area. And I never heard of them either until my former mentor said, oh, you should do Del Taco. So I worked there at Del Taco right before I did Juan Pollo. And I didn't know the tie with Ed Hackbar because when I had orientation, by the time I went to Del Taco, I went to orientation, and they talked about the founder, and it's like he's dead. I didn't know Ed Hackbar did, Del Taco and Barstow, and I didn't realize he's still around. He still runs the stores. So I met him. I write my book. I met him. This guy still helps out at the stores, and he's like a legend. I mean, he's in Barstow, and that's where his headquarters are, and he also has a store in Corona where he has his office. And so I think a lot of these things is destiny. I end up here, I end up doing it what I'm doing. And so that's why I wrote this book. And so after Del Taco, that's why I had the opportunity to open Juan Pollo. And same thing, I grew up in Los Angeles County. And I don't know if you know, but if you grew up in Los Angeles, my generation, the last place you ever want to end up is Inland Empire. It's a natural prejudice. And even the first time I came to Ontario, there's Ontario Motor Raceway, so I graduated high school, and then they said, let's go to the raceway. The only problem was the speedways weren't completed all the way, I think, and so we got lost. All they have these dust storms, and it's all fields, and so we got lost in the dust storm. I said, that's it. It was hot, and so I said, never, ever, ever, ever. But what happened was the best thing I ever did was pack up my bags, and the opportunity to open Juan Pollo was Ontario, so I jumped. And actually, growing up, I just ate hamburgers because if you notice the cattle industry, they got even brainwashed, so you had to eat beef, so the cowboy movies and the cattle drives, and so I was convinced that chicken was not for un-American. And actually, when I was growing up, I really didn't like fried chicken, even though Kentucky was popular. I never really got used to fried chicken. I was used to eating hamburgers, eating McDonald's, and French fries. And so right before. When I was at Del Taco, actually, I saw first El Pollo Loco, but the first ones to come out and did the charcoal chicken, and it was like amazing. It was lines of people, and it was the first chicken I really liked because it wasn't fried and it was on the grill. So I came to Ontario to set out to copy El Pollo Loco, and then my friend Armando, when I had the location, I didn't know what to do because when you work at the chains, they don't tell you how to open a restaurant, they tell you how to manage it. They don't want you to be independent. So I called my friend Armando, and he came up with a recipe, and he told me to do rotisserie, don't do the charcoal. And same thing, best thing I ever did. So I got established, and the first year in Ontario was 1984, and I was kind of floundering the first year, and I figured some things out by the second year, and we started doing really good. And in 1985, the end of 1985, this guy came to me, he says, a sales guy, he says, well, there's a location in San Bernardino. So So I came out and took a look, and and I said, oh, this is a good location. It's about 5th and Mount Vernon. And then, so I made a deal. And so I ended up opening there in 1986. Now, I didn't know at the time that was Route 66. And in the 80s, nobody really cared. And I had, and I didn't even know McDonald's started in San Bernardino. Here I've been fast food since 1970. I grew up eating all this stuff. I had no idea about where the roots of all these chains were. I had no clue. Because by then, San Bernardino East Street, where their McDonald's was really, just boarded, most of the buildings were boarded up. So but the same year that I came to San Bernardino, a book came out called Behind the Arches. And it is a story about McDonald's. It wasn't a story about so much Ray Kroc, but the corporation, about the corporation and how they grew and how they became the biggest food business in the world. And the first chapter said, yes, there was McDonald Brothers, and they were in San Bernardino, on 14th and E. And I thought, oh, but the book said there's nothing there. And so it's like, well, look, and they said it was a music store, okay, it was the car store or something. And so I went, look, yeah, there's a building there, and the book says you can tell that sign was the original sign. If you look and study it, it all said it was Lopez Guitar Store or something. And so what I did was I read that book about McDonald's, and then it clicked in my head that that's the strategy I need to do if I go overseas. I said that because at the time in the 90s and even now, there's never going to be another fast food chain like these fast food chains. The time is come and gone in America, because it's a very mature market. And if you look at all fast food chains, and that's all I do is fast food, every major chain has been around 40, 50, 60 years. Like In-N-Out, 60 years, McDonald's, 60 years, and KFC, 60 years, and even some of the new ones are 40, 50 years. So there has been no major chain in the last 20, 30 years, and there never will be because times have changed. And I'm convinced if McDonald's opened up that 5 years ago, they'd be broke. Even In-N-Out Burger, everyone loves the In-N-Out, but if they would open up 5 years ago, I think they'd be a bankruptcy. And so it's just, but when I read McDonald's book, it talked about how they rose up and they were in the right place at the right time. Because if you study McDonald's, which I did, they had the right food at the right time in the history of America. Because there's meat, potatoes, hamburger potatoes, and there's in the 1948 they opened right after the war, and people were anxious for work. They wanted to come back from the war. They wanted to have families, which is I'm part of the baby boomer generation, the biggest generation ever in history of America, and so it was the right time, the right place. He had the right food. And unfortunately, that time has come and gone. And then here I ended up eating hamburgers my whole life, and then I stumbled into the chicken. And what happened was after I started doing Juan Pollo, that's all I eat. I don't eat hamburgers anymore because I found out also that as you age, your body can't digest that fat. When I was young, I would eat hamburger after hamburger. But even when I was young, one time what I did was I discovered chili fries at these little places, and I ate it every day. And then after about 2 months, I got sick. I couldn't eat for 20 years. But then if you look at the chicken, I keep the chicken every day, and that's one of the good things about it, because Armando, who helped me with the recipe, he said that's his goal. He said I want to bring out the natural flavor of the chicken, and because we don't add anything to it, we don't add any breading or any sauces or anything. It's a natural chicken. It tastes good. So really, your body can digest that every day. You eat it every day, and so that's kind of my model. What I did, and actually, if you look at McDonald's, that's why they did well. Most people understand. The reason they did well, especially since I used to eat fast food every single day, there's a lot of times I'd be so busy running around that I could go to McDonald's and you could eat McDonald's every day because it's so bland that your body doesn't reject it. But if you look at In-N-Out with chili fries, you cannot eat In-N-Out every day unless you're a teenager. And at McDonald's, they figured, I don't know if they know that, but that was the secret, because the food goes down easy. You never get a stomach ache if you just eat a cheeseburger or even the Big Mac. They're nice and bland. They take all fat out. And that was one of the secrets of their success. And like I said, I don't even know if they understood that. And then, I'll tell you the secret about the French fries. I don't know if you guys know, but in those days, that was the best French fries ever. But they did things you can't do now, and what they did, they cooked it in 100% lard. And the reason, but they got away with that because they kept rotating the shortening, because animal fat or lard, I'm convinced your body craves that, but your brain says don't do it. And so they cooked in a lot. What they did was they would get the potato. They invented a system over here in our office, especially. I mean, East Street, 14th and 8th. They would get these potatoes and they would peel them, cut them, and let them air dry to get them dry also, because moisture breaks down shortening. And then, so they would air dry it. See, health department now, you cannot leave any food out. But those days, you cut the potato, you wash it real good, cut it, peel it, cut it, stick it in those big trays, and let them air dry. So they would get nice and dry. And then when they're ready to serve it, what they would do, actually they would blanch it first. They would blanch it for 2 minutes. And what that did, it sealed the skin right now. But if you look at, if you go to fast food places, if your potatoes, French fries are like darker, the older the shortening is, the darker the French fries get. The new shortening, whatever blend they use, they're white, they're just pure on the first day. And McDonald, and I know exactly when I went to Burger King, we had to use a 50-50 blend because we had to cook everything in that fryer. Where McDonald's had French fries in one, they did a fish, and when after they got 4 days old, somebody put it and did the fish and did an apple pie. At Burger King, we didn't do much sales, so we put everything into one. And then we had to use 50-50 blend because the vegetable oil lasts long, so we used 50-50, couldn't use, you know. But then after a week, you got stuff like yellow and brown, and then it has that rancid taste in it. Yeah. But McDonald's never did that because they were so busy. And anyway, they blanch it for 2 minutes, and then they stick them out and let them dry again in the racks. And then you order it, they cook them in half. That's why they were fresh. And they were the most delicious French fries. You know. But the trick was they had to have fresh shortening. And no other chain could do that because they sold French fry after French fry. And now everything's kind of standard where all the chains do their frozen potatoes. You know, and it's not the same. And even now, even the McDonald's, they're down to 100% vegetable oil because everyone's worried about their image. You know, and that's what a good thing about what I'm doing is like a destiny, and I'm doing the rotisserie chicken. And see, if you look at Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? Supposedly I'm going to go take them over, but well, I have a plan to do this. I'm serious. But anyway, Kentucky Fried Chicken, these guys, they bow down to public pressure. Their name is KFC now, and so younger people say, what's KFC? It doesn't mean anything. You know, they should say, hey, we're Kentucky Fried Chicken, we serve the best fried chicken. But if you see their thing now, what they do, they apologize. They go in and they say, we eat no trans fat, I don't even know what that is, no 100% vegetable oil, we don't do this, we don't do that. And then when I started doing Juan Pollo, see, that's why I'm convinced I'm at the right place, the right time, because I put a picture of our rotisserie chicken cooking, you know, like in the front of the book. And then people say, that's the healthy way to cook. See, from the time it started, if you read what I wrote about when Norman Backery, I don't know if you remember Norman Backery?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a story in that role, I'll tell you real quick, but when the first year I came to San Bernardino, we had no customers, because, you know, we're on the supposedly wrong side of town, the west side. And I had met a lot of people say, well, we don't cross that freeway, we don't go over there. And then, so I was outside, so I didn't know the difference. I looked at this, good location. But the first year nobody came, and then especially the locals we got, even though we just supposedly Hispanic business, we didn't get any the local Mexican trade really. We were getting mostly just people from the downtown, just people straggling in with their advertising. And in August of that year, because I always put the emphasis on cooking that chicken perfect. And August of that year, a guy calls me Norman Backery calls me, so I'm the food critic for the San Bernardino Sun. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm thinking to myself, but who reads the paper? Because I always grew up reading LA. So I thought we read, but he said, that's the best chicken I've ever eaten. I think, oh, that's great. You know, so I didn't, but I'm still thinking, well, it's nice to have a newspaper article, but yeah, you know, who's going to come? And then they called me and he said, I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. I said, look, you're going to get lines of people. I said, oh, great. You know, I was playing along. And he went to Ontario and they said, look, he said he started his interview and he started asking me about rotisserie chicken. Our cookers, our machines. And then he answered his own question. He started saying, well, this is the best way to cook. The juices drip out into the south basin. And every time he asked me a question, he didn't answer it. But that's good because the Arabian Bible they were doing, and they said, you can have lines of people. I said, oh, great, you know, and I really didn't believe him. And that Sunday he came out, he called me and said, oh, you have a line, my article comes out. And so I said, okay. But because by then, we were doing a couple $1,000s at Sundays in Ontario store, which I thought, okay, that's great, we're doing good. I said, okay, and we never did over $1,000 until, you know, Norman Wood's article. And so I figured, okay, we do 2,000 a day, no problem, no big deal, right? But by the time I got to the store, it was about noon, a little before noon, and the dining was full of people. And I thought, and I looked inside the machines, chicken, because my guy George, he was a good kid. He actually opened his own chicken restaurant in Vallejo. But he you know, he's a high school kid then, and he took pride in doing. He listened to me. He wanted me to chicken perfect. And even Norman said he came that one day. He said the only reason he came to the store because his son wanted to ride to somewhere, and he said I don't cross the freeway. He told me the same story. And he said people told me the son would go try to chicken, but I said no. And then he said my son wanted to go somewhere. I had to wait for him to pick him up, so that's why I stopped in. And then what he did was he told me he went there 3 days. So he didn't tell anybody who he was. He was talking, and at the time he was the only guy there, only customer. Yeah. And then so he loved the chicken, and he came the next day. And good thing like George, you know, doing the cooking, he likes to talk to everybody, you know. So it's critical at the right employees, right? But each time the chicken was the same. That's why he told me. So I came to see. I didn't, because sometimes you know people get lucky, or they see the food critic, they give them special treatment. And then, but anyway, the more he came to when it was full, the dining was full, and the people started telling us that, well, you're going to get busier and busier. And I'm thinking, no problem, because we had a bunch of chicken. But sure enough, we got busier and busier. And a lot of people that came in, they were dressed for sit down. They were expecting table service, and those days nobody really drove the Mercedes or BMW. Everyone was driving Cadillacs or Lincolns. These were the wealthy. They come over and they said, you're getting busier and busier all week. And sure enough, that day we kept running out, and I told George, they would line up, and because what Norman did, he said the deal you should buy is buy 2 chicken, get 1 free. So 3 chickens for buy 2, get 1 free. I don't know the price, but so everybody that went there, that's all they ordered. And they would order a 2-piece combo, so hey, great, but they all ordered 3 chickens. That's what because whatever Norman said, that's what they did. If you know Norman, I don't know if the people that followed me, they said whatever he writes, they had a big following. It shocked the heck out of me. And that's what they did after. So that day, by the end of the day, we did about 2,500, but we could have done 5,000 if I had chicken. Because I kept telling George, George, go out there and tell me to come back tomorrow. I said, give him a coupon, tell him to come back tomorrow. And then when he get rid of the whole line, then 20 of the state would be another line. And so, at the end of that month, we just pretty much doubled our sales over what we normally did. We all of a sudden developed a base of customers, the middle class of customers. And even though we were on that side of town, it took me 5 years to get 2 Mexicans. You know, but even though everyone I hired was bilingual, and I thought, okay, well, I'll do good because I'm in the Hispanic part of town. Well, you know, but that's the thing, I have to be careful because people look at me, they say, well, you know, if you didn't know Juan Pollo, I just walk up here and said, I'm the owner of Juan Pollo. First thing you ask for a thing is, well, where's he from? Yeah. You know? That's the question I guess. So I always know it's always a stereotype, and the truth is I'm American, you know. So, and the truth is my dad, he's 96. He's never been to Japan. So, and actually my dad was, I think there's very few 96-year-old native Californians, you know. And my mother's saying he's born in Raleigh. But and right now the stereotype is because so many immigrants came in, Asians in the last 20 years. That most adult Asians, like their business, like what I'm doing, they're from somewhere else, most likely Korea or China. Yeah. See, so it's a natural stereotype. So I understand that. So that's why you know. That's why I try to do, you know, always figure it out first, but hit them up first. So in a way, I'd rather look on the book. It's good and bad because now I can call myself a minority. So it's hard for people to sue me for discrimination. But I understand America. I know what America wants. That's why I wasn't getting the true trade, because I'm gearing my company to Americans. It could be Mexican American, white American, Black American, but because that's why I started the chain. So, and the mistake a lot of people make, if they really are immigrants, don't really see what America was in the 50s, 60s, when most of us grew up, is that they don't understand. Like most white workers, they really don't understand America the way we need to operate. And that's, so that's why I'm reaching out right now to I'll get into that book. Okay, got sidetracked. Where was I?
You're talking about chicken.
Give me back to the future. I'll skip a little bit over Amboy and McDonald buying that thing, but the book. There's reasons why I wrote this book and why I did what I did, because my guy Carlos said this. It's in my hair. And I met him maybe 2 years ago. So he came to the restaurant, and this is a Mexican guy with these tattoos. I thought, well, he said he wanted to help me in marketing, and they told me he published his own magazine. He did a Lowriders type magazine. And then I said, okay, well, and we kept talking, but he showed me. And he said, look, he printed out 7 issues. And what happened was he showed me a completed copy. He did all the editing, he did the pictures, he did the layout, he did everything. So it told me, he had the ability to get something done. And so he started helping me with my stuff, my marketing and computer stuff, because me, I don't know anything about the computers. And I kind of stay away from that because this chapter here about why I do that. So I'm trying to get you guys to buy that. Yeah. Well, actually, no, sidetrack again. Because I'm doing what I'm doing, I meet a lot of people that want to franchise, a lot of people want to talk to me, because I always try to be different than the ordinary guy. And then they ask me all these thousands of questions. And whatever I'd like to have somebody, everything they would ask me about the business or what I think, I answered it. And so it's just I asked John Weeks wrote that. I read the book, and he says a lot of information, and it's true. And so anyway, Carlos told me, he said, well, you need to write a book, because he saw what I'm doing right now. And when I got to a certain point in my life, in the 90s, I had other people we were establishing a company, we were growing, and I was sort of at a crossroads where I could either, I had 2 choices to make, which I looked at: become In-N-Out or become McDonald's. Okay? And both of those companies started in the same year, and I had to figure, what do I want to do? Do I want to just make my family rich, like In-N-Out, and just control everything? Or do I want to try to go out there and help as many people as can to grow the biggest company, whatever? And I have to set my goals out way out there, because if I don't, I wrote about why I failed too one time. If you don't set your goals high, if you achieve it, then everything's over. And so I set some way out. I decided the choice I took, I could either be In-N-Out, which if you study In-N-Out, they're the most famous chain right in Southern California, and they have a just tremendous following. But good luck if you want to go make money with them. You can't buy franchise, you can't invest in their stock. And the family's making all the money, so they're happy, and there's no growth for someone. Let's say, so for someone like me, there's no potential. You can go so far, which is good because they have such a loyal following. But what they did, they controlled everything, and even I found out when Harry Snyder, the founder, he had about 32 restaurants when he passed away, and then he had his son took over, and they turned it into something. And now, I have 2 sons too, and he passed away, the other son took over and got them where they are now. And now it's a granddaughter. Or do I try to do what McDonald's did and affect so many people? Because everything you read now, the McDonald's, the corporate logo is the most recognized logo in the world. And they've been in every country in the world except probably India, because cows are sacred. And then also, if you look at India, hey, that's true. They eat chicken. I think that's about India when they so anyway, so this is the decision I had to make, and so I always had a big vision where I needed to go, But at the same time, I need to structure. And if you, the business people, the chains, they look at what I'm doing now, and they know. I don't. They don't see the structure it needs. And I don't have the financial I need. I don't have the structure. I don't really don't even have the people I need. But see, I can do a lot of these things because I need so many people. So you need to control this, control that. I don't even have an operating manual right now. And so, but if I did that and get the people I need, because there's a lot of things I can oversee, then I'll just be in and out. And so I need, so I'm waiting to find, the right people. And that's why when Charlie told me, or Carlos told me, well, he said you should write a book. And I always thought one day, well, yeah, I'll write a book. And I always thought, well, you write a book, and then when you're old, you're successful, and you're retired, and you did all this stuff, and you help a bunch of people. You say, well, I helped them, and I did this, I did that. And then you write it so you can pat yourself on the back and say, here's my book. And so that's why I was thinking, and that's what I need to do, or that's the traditional way. He said, no, you need to write it now because it's a different time, it's a new time, place. All these people, the young people all over the world are searching for opportunity. And I thought about it, and I realized he's right, because these other countries, especially China, India, they've been held back by their government and the situation. And if you look at the two most successful immigrant groups right now into America, it's probably the Indians and the Chinese. When I saw an article 2 weeks ago that the two groups that have the highest or most highest percentage of a college degree per 100 is Chinese and Indians. And so but then look at India and China considered third world or poor, but they come to America and they prosper. See, so these are the type of people that will work in this type of industry. Because if you see most of the Asians come right now, that's the problem. They're going into the fast food, but they're doing it their way. Yeah. And people gravitate to that even after the war. Well, actually, why I worked at Burger King in 1970, and when I got into management 2-3 years later, it was all white middle class males. And so they were all middle class, everyone was middle class, even the workers, middle class kids. And the time has come and changed now. Good luck finding somebody who speaks English and wants to work. So it's just a time and a place, and since then, America became very successful, so it's a mature market. And so the opportunity to get people to really get out there and work, because I'm young kids now, they're internet, computer driven. And so you get anyone who's smart, intelligent, as a young guy, 15, 16, 17, they want to be the next Steve Jobs or Bill Gates. And so that's, if they're really smart, they make it. But stuff like this business is good for someone like me. I'm not really the smartest guy, and I'm not the brightest, but so there's an opportunity. And so that's kind of, so when I thought about it, he told me now's the time to do it, I realized he's right. So that's why I started writing this book. And then when I started writing the book, I had to get a laptop because I really didn't know computers. But the good thing is I learned how to type when I was in 7th grade. And that was a big help. So I started writing text, and then right away I laid out an outline. I put 40 chapters. And one of the reasons what I did was when I started writing, my biggest influence when I was young, besides reading a lot of those autobiographies, when I was young, I would read comic books. And I would read, the best one I would read is Marvel, because they were the best written and they had the best art, Jack Kirby. And I started all cartoons, not cartoons, but Avengers and Iron Man and Hulk. These are all Jack Kirby characters. And even the Marvel, but the ones he drew with Stan Lee, those are the top ones because he had the best storylines. And you write a comic book, it has to be short and sweet. And then I used to read Mad Magazine, and everything there's satirical, and same thing, they had the short spaces of time. So then I realized, hey, if I'm going to write, I'm not going to write boring stuff, because that's why I did bad at school. I was kind of, I hated English, because I was the type that could not sit still, and I hated when I said, read this book, and tell me the deeper meaning. I hated that. I really wanted to say, tell me what it is, and I don't need to read it. And so that's all, and especially today, because young people aren't going to read traditional books. Everything's Twitter or short or to the point. So that's what I started doing. So I started writing this text, and I have all this text, but and I'm not really, I sort of can write a little bit, but I don't do it, and so it takes me about 20 different edits. And if I think about it, and so when I start writing, I'm still running these stores because we were having problems in fishery where the cash flow's not right and stretched thin. So I start writing in between customers or I go home at night. And I keep writing, and then I print it out because it's hard for me to understand on the screen, so I print it out and I can look at it as a print. And then I start editing it down, and this is all just text. And then, but it's starting to take shape, so finally it's almost manuscript, and at the end, Carl started formatting it. He did the format work, the layout. And then, after I started editing some more, then I started putting pictures in, so it started taking shape. And what happened was it ended up exactly perfect for what I needed, and really, I think it's destiny, because if you look at, if you read about my book, everything, when I'm confronted with something, they ask me, I was talking to Carlos today, he's asked me, what do you about this, what about that? I said, well, it's destiny. And I really believe that because there's no logical reason I could go in and keep expanding my company and try to say I'm going to be the biggest chain in the world with my skills. But it has to be destiny, and I will keep saying it till the day I die. And I think in the end, whatever you think is going to happen, I will about that too. And so anyway, the book came out when I'm done. And the other thing I did was at the end, Carl's getting kind of anxious because I'm making type all stuff up, and he's not really, it's the first time he ever typed up a book. And I'm trying to read. He lives in Barcelona out here, so we're going over the computer stuff, or I have to run over there to see him. And so so I had to push hard because what I found out in life is that if you start something and something kind of a little bit complicated, like I was trying to do that, because I'm not a writer, I can't, it doesn't come natural. The hardest thing is to finish it. It's easy to get to 80, 78%. I breeze through the first 70%. It looks pretty good, And then the last 10% is the most difficult, especially when you start dropping pictures. You want to make sure I didn't bore anybody to death, because a lot of times people write to them. Oh, if you read a book about Ray Kroc, he wrote his book and called Grinding It Out, right? And all it did was his version of whatever happened, and who cares? I was talking about how he fell in love with Joan Kroc, how he met her, how he went out with her, how he missed her. But for me, who cares? The other book called Behind the Arch is strictly, he was already passed away, and strictly talks about McDonald's Corporation, why they became the biggest corporation in the world. And the other thing which was influenced me to write this book, when I would read all these books about people successful, like Walmart, I watched some movie about Patton, General Patton, and what he taught me about destiny. And then Ray Kroc, and even talk about every time I read these books about the successful people, they had to retire, and so I couldn't join them. Now I need some, to take me to the next level. So I'm throwing out this book is bait for the right person. Because when I was younger, I would read some. I told you, read the McDonald book, and it just clicked in my brain. Said that's it. And I read Walmart book. And right now everyone says the worst company, whatever. But when Sam Walton was alive, he was an icon, and I read that book, and that tells me China. What he did in America, I need to do in China. And what he did was, let me tell you what he did. He made a connection with the population of Americans today. I'm American, I'm one of you. They got to be waving American flags. I'm just a hillbilly from Arkansas. And then, but that was his image. And behind the scenes, the guy was ferocious. He was a tyrant. But on the surface, Mr. Nice Guy, and I'm just one of you. And so he made a connection with the American population. And that's what I need to do in China. That's why these countries have a hard time with China. For me to go to China to accomplish my goals, I have to get in China and also India. But the problem American companies have in China, unless you're Coca-Cola or McDonald's, you go there, they copy you, kick you out. There's no protection, or if you go complain, they throw you in jail, and you have no rights. But the way around that is you become famous. You become a celebrity. That's why I'm doing Amboy. That's why I do that, buying McDonald's. They all know McDonald's. And I'll go there, hey, and I have to make sure I tell them I'm American, not Japanese. They hate the Japanese. I'm American. I was happy to be here. And then I go get that chicken squared away and just sell it and do what Walmart did, sell it cheap. You discount it, just drop that price, give bargain, and let them make a lot of money. So I'll take less money. My goal is to become the biggest chicken company, not the richest. And so that's, but that's a strategy they did in America, because when Walmart finally came to California, this is in the 90s, and I kept hearing about Walmart, the little business, and let's get together, let's fight them, and I think, what the hell, what? And by then, but the first one came out was in Highland, on Highland Avenue, was the one by the freeway. And then at the same time, there was a Target and close by and a Kmart. And the Kmart, before Walmart came, they remodeled everything. And so by the time Walmart and Target remodeled, because they're scared of Walmart, and by the time Walmart comes, there's Walmart lines of people that look just like the Target and Kmart. They all look the same. But the difference is that the image and the intangible qualities that Walmart has, and they had everybody waving flags and door readers, and everyone went to Walmart because and then later, a couple years later, they said, hey, Walmart's everything's from China. So all the flags and all the because they said America is America first. But that's the same process. Image I need to go overseas. Okay. I guess what was they getting?
That's so bad.
Here's what happened. The other thing about the book, I know kind of boring, but if you read it, if you really do business and read it, find it interesting. Because what I did was, if you ever open a chicken business, rotisserie chicken, because everyone tried to in the 90s, I wrote down everything I learned. Everything, which most people that have a restaurant, they'd be afraid to do that. But everything I learned about how to cook a perfect chicken, and what I learned and why I do what I do, because the reason is someone is smart to do what they tell them, or read that and say, hey, they can do it, they should join me. And so most people they won't do that, they're afraid. And what happened is in the last 20 years, I found out I have a monopoly, and I don't know any company, any kind of business that has a monopoly. And trust me, I know because I'm in the business, but if you look at America, there's no rotisserie chicken fast food restaurants anywhere. No. Then if you saw them in the late 90s, early 2000s, everybody went into the rotisserie chicken. Because I started in '84, and there was nobody doing rotisserie really. Then I got
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers. When they came in the 90s, and let's see, by the late 90s, everyone went into rotisserie. But the mistake they made is they read the newspapers. The people that started them, they read the newspapers. Oh, America's turning health conscious. They turn away from red meat. Let's do rotisserie. It's healthier. The only problem is they're serving garbage. They're serving something. See, the executives said, okay, the Americans want healthy food, so just give them chicken. But you can cook a chicken in your house, throw it in the oven, put a little salt and pepper on, and make it taste better. Why would you ever buy one from them? And then when Boston Market came, that was a big pyramid scheme. They were out there to invest, and they came and they rode that wave, and it was a hysteria about Boston Market. And they had the best equipment, the best operating manuals, the best locations, the best everything. And they went to bankruptcy because if you went to Boston Market when they opened, they put zero emphasis on what the chicken tastes like. They were thinking, the executives thinking, hey, it's rotisserie chicken, people want chicken. They think people are stupid. And who would pay money for something they could make better at home? And so all those early Boston Market, when they opened all these stores, there were thousands of them. And every time you go there, the people, the managers, district managers, right at the front door, they're greeting you, shaking your hand, offering you free samples of their side orders. And they kept bragging, well, we have fresh side orders. Yeah, they did, but who cares? And then so they had minimum wage workers on there cooking the chicken. And with me, as some of the other owners, I put pressure on everybody. I tell everybody it's going to take you 3 or 4 or 5 years to learn how to cook this chicken right, to make it right for the customers that they want if you're smart. And so I put every emphasis, so every time I would open stores, or even now I'm just half time cooking over there if I got a bad worker, I put the emphasis on the product. And these other companies did, that's what they're all done. And I don't know, the Kentucky Fried Chicken, they rolled out rotisserie gold, and these guys are so dumb. See, there's this big corporate, so they were instructed by corporate to do rotisserie, and I knew they'd do. I was laughing because it's impossible, because the difference between us or rotisserie and fried chicken is it's the same chicken, except the fried chicken you cut up, and they told me they cut their chicken 9 pieces. I don't know how they do that, but I was told it's 9-piece cut, and then they put breading on there, and you cook it, and it's got a lot more calories because it puffs up because it fills you up. You take the same chicken and you do rotisserie, it's compact, you don't have a lot of skin there, so you cut it, you got 6 or 8 pieces, and it looks half the size of fried chicken. So they were selling the chicken, there's a rotisserie one to cut up, and there's a fried one, I'll take a fried one even though I don't like fried chicken, because this is twice as big, but they have to charge the same, because breading is nothing, and so and I got around away from that by just selling anything cheaper. So by the time they ate, they got full. So that's how I got around that, and nobody in the chains will do that, because the chain thing is you have to have a certain food cost, which is like 33%, and they want 50% payroll, and so they really want a 50% gross profit, and that's why that system doesn't work anymore, because the new model is Costco, Walmart, you throw everything out there cheap and go volume. And the fast food chains don't understand that, or they're dinosaurs. And so I was starting at the time when all these guys were growing like crazy, and I'm still there. All those people that I was really too young to be one of those guys that franchise, and I could have almost got franchised at Burger King for $15,000 in the 1970s, because they were mandated to have segregation, quotas. They had quotas, so they had so many minority owners, because all the owners were white male. And so they said, okay, this is our program. If you're a member here, or one of our manager, $50,000, you get franchise. Everyone else paid $150,000. But now I was thinking, I was a little bit too young to do that, but I was thinking, well, what the hell? I don't want to be. I won't tell us Butch. I thought I don't want to be 50 years old, so I worked at Burger King. Maybe I can have a lot of money. I know this guy Vince Upierre. He has all these Burger King franchises. He's loaded, but he was like on top of me, and district manager, I was the assistant manager, and he got in the franchise, and he has all these Burger Kings. Now he has the most Burger Kings in the Inland Empire, and but who cares? They make a lot of money. But then I heard his kids don't want to go into business because they don't want to be part of Burger King. Even so something it's okay if you want more money, but I was not, So anyway, but that's why all the people who went to rotisserie chicken in the 90s, they failed because they're trying to use the principles of the old days. There was Boston Market, Katie Rogers, and and actually all the chains looked into it. I know House of Pancakes, they came and tried the testing in Upland, and the manager was doing official testing for the company, and he would come down to our store, he'd hire one of the workers I had, and find out what a recipe, and I could care less, because they stopped, they would do it for a while, because the only way you do good on rotisserie, you have to specialize in that. And for me to grow bigger, the one problem I have is because the machines take so long to really cook, to do it right, to learn the system, because there's different ways to cook, and it's not just cut and dry. And so people can't duplicate that. It's really hands-on, but I can't grow big if I have to rely so much on the people thinking. Because the problem I have is the people smart enough to cook the way I want it, they won't work this business. And the people that will work the hours you need them, they're not smart to think and adjust. So the answer's in here too, but the answer is what Walmart did automate. Walmart, they grew so fast because they were the first one to take advantage of the computer. He was right at the computer age, and he jumped in there and did inventory control, ordering, last second ordering, where Kmart and Sears and Target, they were pretty much antiquated, so they were stuck on their old register system, and hard to change over because everyone's old school, and so they're resistant to change. And right now with us, that's why I like being in the Inland Empire, because we're living under the screen. But I want, but this could be the birthplace of our growth. And the other reason I wrote, back to the reason why I wrote the book, there's really, the book itself will appeal to maybe 3 types of people, and I think very few, well, I got lucky that it worked out that way because we get so many regular customers that know us from the beginning. So I wrote the book in a way that would appeal to the people that, in our customer base. And a lot of times I want to read about what we started, because what happens is that will increase our base. If you have somebody with enough pictures, they'll show it to their friends and say, oh, I know the owner, and I want to make a personal contact. And then I get a call after call about people want to franchise. And this is over the last 25 years, I get a lot of calls. The only problem is I'm not ready to franchise, even though this past year I became a legal franchising company. Everyone from the outside I've tried to help, but all these years has failed. You know, because right now we don't have. I need certain things, you know, that I don't have. A lot of people want me to structure, be a good franchising company, but then what will happen? I would just end up being a small company like In-N-Out. I could do that, but let's say if I start working on doing the equipment and the cookers, I know what I need. I know I can't do it. And I'm thinking some young person has to come up that doesn't know anything and just figure something that has to be computer based. But let's say I spend 10 years doing that, then I'll be 70 years old. And then let's say I spend 10 years getting a training system in, and I'll be 80. Then I spend another 10 years doing it, and I'll be 90. See? So that's great. I can do this, but then I'll be, or same thing, I'll be like Baker's. Baker's right now is a very strong company, but they're small. And when I came to San Bernardino in '86, Baker's was a chain, but Neil Baker was still kind of running it. And then, but they had some good stores, some bad stores. That's what I mean. They had some and whatever. And then when Neil started turning over, I think their son-in-law or someone they're running it, they upgraded, standardized everything. So now Baker's is really a impressive chain. But it's taking this long because I think they started 53, 52, 50, some range. And so they're saying they were 60 years old. And so I could probably do that, but I'm looking at you know, look at the big picture. And so the reason I wrote this book, the really true reason is to, for me, I'm going to throw this out there, and Carlos, he's supposed to, because internet, because everything's internet based, and I need to hook people, so I don't, you know, we need to throw it out there and then get, he's supposed to give me YouTube stuff or clips, because I'm not good at that, but get us out there, throw the name out there, and if people get curious, they'll look us up, because any information instantaneous now. And what I did at the same time, I wrote this book so it's short and sweet, the chapter, after 40 chapters, and I try to keep it simple so people aren't bored. You know, and everyone has read the book, because you know, I don't have anybody say it was a boring book. And you see what I try to write something I would want to read, because I have a short attention span for things that are boring. And also at the same time, I try to write the things that make it interesting, like the secret of how to do the chicken. And if you want to know it's in here what I learned, but if you can do it, you need to join me. And if you can really cook the way I talk about, you know. And John?
Howard, how about food trucks?
Pardon me?
Have you looked into food trucks? Food trucks with a rate.
Well, I know, but on food trucks, we don't do well in that environment, because people that go there, we learned this by doing all of the rendezvous. People that go to those events, they really like bigger food, like the turkey leg or ribs. We used to go to food tasting where we had Joy's barbecue. Everybody always preferred Joy's because they got a big bone. Because it's like big, and then you go put it in your hand. See, with us, we have to give you a plate, and all those food trucks, they either walk in and a hamburger, hot dogs, or those work better. And so the plan is right now is to head into LA. That's why I have to get the hang of it, talking to people. And then and Carl's supposed to head me out to LA and so go on the networks. But right now, the problem I'm having is if I just say Juan Pollo, or Inland Empire, and we go into LA market, they'll ignore us. They won't come out here. So
You have better chicken than anybody in LA.
yeah, I know. Okay, but let me tell you what. I don't know if you heard about Kookaroos. They were nothing. Trade magazine after trade magazine, but they were in Hollywood. And I would hear about them in the 80s when Boston Marks came up bragging about cuckoos. I go there, it's a shish kebab. They call it skinless whatever and rotisserie. It was shish kebab. They had a little breast. They took the skin out and put it in the shish kebab. And they got a best after best because that's the area they went. They were in all the trade magazines. Same thing with California chicken. California chicken, they had 2 locations and they were going to be the next to beat out, compete with Boston Market. And same thing, they got all publicity because they were in the west side. They had one in Hollywood, I think one in West LA. And even Zancu's in Hollywood. And they get all this publicity, and Zancu's is nothing. They have a loyal trade, and they try to expand, and they couldn't. And even that one year in 2003, we got invited to KTLA when they were the #1 morning station, and we got in on Cinco de Mayo. I don't know how my girl got me in there. Because they didn't know who we were. We went in there, surprised everybody, and I took our cookie machine, I took trucks, and we took the girl, the Juan Pollos, and they all dressed up. We took all the guys, Jose with it, the cooks were there, and every commercial they shot to the outside, the parking lot. And they even had Chipotle was there, and they had little dancers, and then what they did, they had like 5 different Hispanic businesses, supposedly, and they didn't really know who we were, and we had to barge in that night, we went there, and the morning news starts at 5, and so the guard wouldn't let us in because we had like 5 or 6 vehicles. I had this monster truck with the tailgate lifted up, hydraulics. We took cookers, we took tents, and so we had like a vertical display, and with a chicken cooking and had a whole setup. And then, but the guard wouldn't let us in, so you're supposed to have one car. And finally we said, well, here too bad, and we forced our way in. And the other businesses, they just had a little table like that, and they put a little tablecloth. And so we were a big hit. Now, we had some Juan Pollo also, and we were a really big hit. Every commercial, they used us as the backdrop. And but we never got invited back. And the reason was, I found out later, is that Pollo Loco was their sponsor. Even Channel 5 Pollo Loco was sponsor. But and even Mark Kritzky, he's still there. He was a web band, and Carlos Omesco was at that channel at the time. And a year later, Mark Kritzky says, "Oh, this Juan Pollo, he knew about us. He didn't know who we were, what we were." But he was mentioned us a year later because we gave him all dolls, and they were on at the end of the show. They were all waving our Juan Pollo dolls. But nobody in LA knew us, so they don't know because we weren't out there, and then we couldn't go back and reinforce that because we wouldn't have stores for that. With all these media and stuff, these days it's all cable. I need to get out there because I will feed them all. That's what I try to do today, try to get a big crowd, grab everybody.
You mentioned about, Boston Market and those other people that tried and didn't do very well. You mentioned briefly about El Pollo Loco. I used to get, before I really started going to Juan Pollo, I used to get El Pollo Loco and Juan Pollo.
I like Juan Pollo better. Okay, I tell you what the difference is.
What's the difference?
Okay, I'll tell you what the difference is, okay? The difference is me and all these other guys, you look at any CEO, any of these companies, they can't go cook the food. And if they were serving food at the house, any CEO, could be a Pollo Loco, Kentucky, they're not going to go in the restaurant and serve them the same food that they would give to customers. They always give them something better, or they don't want to take them there. And for all this time, when I made my mark, I said, look, I don't want to serve food, I'll serve it to my best friend. And it's because my thing is, I believe you can't fool people, so I'm an operator. And that's slowing me down now because half the time I work in the store, and they must say, well, hey, you're never going to get ahead if you're sitting there cooking the chicken. But really what I'm doing, I'm setting the example because right now, one day the right person will read this, and that's it, I need to join him. All I need is 4 or 5 people like me. And even I wrote a chapter about my family. I had 3 kids. I started late. The first child was when I was 40 when Kyle was born. So I started late, but that's the way it worked out, and it's sort of my destiny. Better late than never. And actually, if I had kids early before that, I probably wouldn't have been able to put the time and effort in to build a chain. When I started, I was 32. I had time. I spent every waking minute doing Juan Pollo, and did nothing else. And I had no wife, and I had no kids, and had I had family, maybe I wouldn't have got this far. So I think, and at the same time, my wife, her family's from Indonesia, the Chinese Indonesian, and Indonesia is not little bit different than Japanese culture, where they're not ambitious. I mean, they don't know how to drive. Look at Japanese, they go crazy as in Japan. So when it's convenient, I say Japanese. When I say they're aggressive, they're in business, and otherwise I'm American.
Let me get through some questions, maybe the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Where did you get the name? Why don't you call it El Pollo or?
Oh, it's in the book. In the book, because I tell you what. That's why either left out where every is, okay, Armando's, I try to get him. And see, I looked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay, there's Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders was the face of it, right? Let's skip that part. The name, yeah, it's important to have a Hispanic name. Okay, and if I say Albert's Chicken, it doesn't identify it. The Juan Pollo part is a theme. So we're not really a Mexican restaurant, but you have to have a theme. You can't say Albert's Chicken. Nobody, so what is that? And they look at me and say, where's he from? And so the Juan Pollo part, and plus the Juan is a fictional character because when Kentucky Fried Chicken, when Colonel Sanders became he became the face of the company. But he can only be one place at one time as they grew. Okay. Now, Ronald McDonald, McDonald's, they came up with Ronald McDonald. He could be everywhere. It's just a costume. Same thing, Juan. I can't be Albert's Chicken. I could be one place. How am I going to be somewhere else? See, but Juan, that's our cartoon character. He needs to be out. He could be the Ronald McDonald if we go in. And I learned that when I went to Burger King. It was next question.
You talk about Amboy, California in your book?
Yeah, I have a chapter how I buy Amboy and.
Talking to the microphone.
Sorry. Yeah, I have there's a chapter about Amboy, how I found about it, which I also think that's destiny.
Oh.
But that's another story. Yeah.
Amboy, Albert is not a stranger in helping organizations like this. He turned Amboy a few years ago over for a weekend to the Barstow Museum Desert Explorers. And we had a great time there. But Albert, there was no chicken.
I found an Amboy, see, I need to keep that pure. So I can never because right now I feel but more people from Europe go to Amboy than Americans.
Yeah.
Like I told you before, I'm a native Californian. I never heard of Amboy until my guy Danny told me in 2003. I didn't even know. My ancestors came from overseas, so they stayed on the coast. See, so it's important that we keep that authentic, because that will give me more recognition for Juan Pollo, really. Yeah.
I was going to say your chicken is great, but your potato salad is probably just as famous.
Well, you want me to tell you something about potato?
Yeah.
Back to it. Potato salad is so simple. It's so simple. The reason everybody loves it, you want to love it? Because I use Best Foods mayonnaise and no one else will do that. I will not even eat it. I mean, everybody have bet you all go be Best Foods mayonnaise. You go to any restaurant, and it's because Best Foods costs like $9, $10 a gallon right now. But then the Miracle Whip's like $3. So every restaurant will use Miracle Whip. And so it's like I told you, I'm not going to serve something I won't eat myself. I won't eat the Miracle Whip. But every restaurant does that because it's cheaper, the cost. And everyone, the ones that love a potato salad, everyone could be the best. That's one mayonnaise. Oh, eat it. I won't eat it yet. So it's pretty simple.
I'm surprised you're having a hard time picking up the Hispanic trade. In Sinaloa, there's a Juan Pollo on every corner.
They come. It's just if you target your company only as a certain ethnic group, you're doomed. I wrote about Look what the problem they had is. They were too ethnic when they came. They were the lines of people when I first saw them in LA. Because they were out there where I was. One was right across the street from me. I put their shed in the book, and no one spoke English. And I knew they were doomed in America. You can't run a company and only rely on someone that don't speak English. You do. You need to get everybody. Because eventually, I got all Hispanic trade. But the trick is to get the middle class American trade. That's the hardest to get. Go to those little wannabe, the copycats. They only get the Hispanic trade. Again, they're doomed. I'm trying to get everybody. That's why I come here talking to everybody here and try to brainwash everybody here. Yeah.
How long does it take to rotisserie a chicken?
Okay, that's the answer there too. The problem problem is, it needs to be cooked right, anywhere from 2 to 5 hours. Every other fast food, like when I worked at Burger King, the greatest thing, you know, they had this chain-driven boiler. You put a hamburger in one end, it comes out the other. It's cooked. I mean, it's the simplest system in the world. So you get busy, you throw some more on there. Now with us, we get busy, hey, we've got to cook it fast, but I have to make it taste the same if it's 5 hours or 2 hours. Our ideal time is 3 hours, but I can't control when people come in. I can't say, hey, everybody come in, you know, one by one. So it's a timing thing. I can't teach it. That's why I need someone, some young guy to come in, know our system, invent a computer that can do what I do. Because I'm not the brightest guy. There has to be a computer that can do whatever I'm doing. And the problem is that the workforce you get in the fast food now, they're not geared to think. I told you Japanese American, there's zero. In 50 years, zero Japanese Americans doing this fast food business. I haven't met anybody. I'm the only one. And so the Japanese supposed to be smarter. Where are they? They're zero. So the, you know.
If you're gonna go to China, you need to do some test marketing with duck.
Because I'm the chicken man. Serious chicken man. I'm not the best man. Yeah. Wait, no. Please.
I was curious in my mind that when you buy your chickens from a chicken farm, are they really, do you know if they're injected with hormones or not when you buy them?
I don't know. I can't say. I don't know.
Is it in your book?
I don't have to ask because I'm not the chicken grower. So I don't know. So you know, I don't know.
Just the reason I asked you is because there's a lot of rumors about Detroit chicken.
What do they do?
Hormones.
I don't know. I'm not that far along in that. Because here's the thing, you have to realize in the fast food business, man, the people that are really concerned about what's in it and suspicious, they won't come anyway, no matter what it says. So that, you know, so that, a lot of people make a mistake. Pollo Loco did that. When Denny's bought Pollo Loco in the 90s, okay, they thought, okay, Americans are health conscious. So what they did was they said, oh, let's get a Heart Association approval. And we'll about that too. But the problem is, to get Heart Association approval, which is healthy for you, you have to take all the salt out. So they took all the salt out, and the chicken was so bland it was plummeted. And then they went to redo it, but they never made the same. If you were to see the original Pollo Locos, they were just delicious. You know, but because I think there's no known substitute for salt, but the people that watch the salt and take health conscious, they cook their own food. See, so sometimes, you know, the ones that really concerned it, so anyway. Rory?
Yeah, Albert, I just want to say I think your chicken's much better than Chick-fil-A, and I want to thank you for not resorting to sensationalism or scandal to advertise your product.
Well, actually, Chick-fil-A is, they're the second largest chain in the world, and their sandwiches are good, I guess. But they're doomed for big growth because they take one side of view. See, that's why I try to stay neutral on everything. And my thing is I don't want to offend anybody. So even in the city, I don't get involved in politics. I don't vote. Whoever's mayor, I support them. Whoever's president, I support them. And because if you take a stand, you anger half of the population. And what I do, I want to make everybody happy. So.
We have time for one more question, and then, I say one more question, and then I'm sure you're going to ask you more questions.
Okay, one more.
Back there, lady, what the fuck?
I was just wondering if you have any plans to purchase San Bernardino like you did Amboy.
Not that smart. Yummy. Did you have a question?
Do you recall Pioneer Chicken?
Yeah, I know Pioneer.
Well, they used to pressure cook their food. I'm just wondering why they failed.
Okay, you want to fail? I'll tell you why they fail. I know why they fail. Okay, when in those days, the 90s, the Pioneer was.
Well, they were here in the 60s.
Yeah. I almost worked at Pioneer. You know, before I went to Del Taco. But I didn't. And then Pioneer, I kind of like Pioneer chicken. I like them better than you don't like to eat much chicken. And I got to know Pioneer Chicken after I got established in the 80s, 90s. And the problem is, they were, the Indians came to America, that's when they first started coming to America, India. And, but they didn't know the health standards. of Americans. So they didn't understand, you know, the cleanliness, yeah, because they came from India, and this was in the early days. It's like when the Koreans first started coming on, they were rude there, but they didn't realize that by American standards they're rude, and by their standards it's normal. And say the Indians, because they didn't have a lot of water, they really take a bath every day, so they would say, oh, this, you know, they could, and so there was this, at the end, it was all Indian, they owned all the pioneers. And what helped, what I learned, even I found out because we changed our chicken supply at one point, and they were the pioneer chicken people. And the guy that does the distribution, he was 100% Indian. He came to me one day, he said, "Oh, this is just like back home." We talked about our food, and he has a turban on, and he's like, this is just like back home. So I want to go do this back home. So I learned, hey, well, we have something to do out in India, but they didn't know the customs of America. They didn't know the health standards. And so they had a bad reputation those days. And had they do it now, they would do good. But by then it was too late, and they got known as the Indian company.
But their process was really fast, they could turn around because of the pressure cooking.
Yeah, one of the things is execution. See, if you know, they had a system that, yeah, you could, you know, but they were hurting because those times you have to spend your time defending the way you cook. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Albert has many more books to sell, so you can ask all kinds of questions. Before you go,
Chicken here for the eat.
oh, we have more chicken back there, so we have more chicken to eat. Jerry Brassfield and Linda Brassfield videotape all of our programs, and this program is videotape. For $15, you can have a copy if you'd like. So, Linda and Jerry, we're right back there. And we have publications for sale up here. We have publications back there, and plenty of chicken. And Albert's here to answer your question.